Welcome to AIMS Knowledge Sharing Session on the topic Outcome-Based Education. I welcome Dr. N. Muthumani, delegates and members from the AIMS to this session. Once again, I welcome you all to this. In this 1 hour program, the sequence of events go like this. Introduction about myself and also about AIMS and instructions to all the delegates, guest introduction followed by a talk by the guest, and post the delivery of the session, then we will have Q&A. At the same time, there will be a feedback link that will be shared, wherein all the delegates are requested to give your feedback. Finally, the program will come to an end with the thank note. Let me introduce myself. I am Dr. S.V. Ramana Rao, working as a director at Sivani Institute of Management. Simply called it as SSIM, based at Hyderabad. Sivani Institute of Management has started its journey in the year 1992 as an autonomous business school offering PGDM programs. The 3 programs that we offer at the institute are PGDM Triple Specialization, PGDM Banking, Insurance and Financial Services, and PGDM Business Analytics. And last year, I'm happy to share to entire August gathering here that we have introduced a fellow program in management too. When it comes to myself, I hold the PhD degree from Center for Economic and Social Studies in the area of finance. I have 27 plus years of experience, both India and abroad. And I'm also actively involved in research and training programs. I think this is enough. Thank you. And when it comes to the AIMS, a brief note for the benefit of all the members present here. Association of Indian Management Schools, a highly impact-making network body, born in the year 1998, 27th August. It has a strong patronage and support of 550 highly ranking B schools as its members and is one of the largest networking bodies in the world. It is an umbrella organization for the management institutes in the country. AIMS has been involved in protecting the interest of management institutions from the vagaries of restricted government regulations, professionalization of management education, creation and dissemination of management-related knowledge through various activities like roundtable conferences for deans and directors, faculty members, faculty development programs, and student events and their development programs, organizing conventions, national and international level seminars and workshops, publication of research papers in the form of AIMS Journal of Management. AIMS is also funding research activities to all the members of the body. Of late, there has been a spurt in diversifying into new activities for the benefit of the entire teaching fraternity, including deans, directors, researchers, faculty, and students, in the shape of inspiring young leaders and knowledge sharing sessions like this. And at least one activity is happening every week. These new initiatives are fascinating to many faculty and young minds of the students. Since it's a virtual meeting, we have to follow certain guidelines. In this regard, I request all the members to keep their mics in mute format. And you can post all your questions, queries, suggestions in the chat box. That would be taken care by our team. And most of these questions or the doubts would be clarified during the Q&A session. I hope you all will understand and cooperate with us. Now, let me take the pleasure of introducing the guest for the session, none other than Dr. N. Muthumani, working as a principal, PPG College of Arts and Science, Saravanampatti, Coimbatore. She holds the highest degree, that's PhD in Computer Science from Mother Teresa University, Kodaikanal. Prior to that, Dr. Muthumani did her master's in Computer Science and also has got bachelor degree in the same stream. She has a very long experience, worked at various capacities at different institutions, and right now heading the institute at the capacity of principal. Dr. Muthumani has got many accomplishments. To name a few, she has produced 4 MPhils and 1 PhD. And also, the resume is showing that most sort of the speaker in the entire, maybe the country, so far 73 talks has been delivered either in the form of invited talks or invited as a resource person, and 25 research publications, which is tremendous, and 1 patent publication, and also published 1 book titled as Deep Learning, published by Scientific International Publishing House. Dr. Muthumani has also contributed to the book chapters and also presented papers at various national and international conferences. Dr. Muthumani presented 15 papers at various international conferences and 70 at the national level conferences. Dr. Muthumani also has received grants from various agencies like CII, ICSSR, TNSCST, ICMR, SNR Sons Charitable Trust. Put together, there are 8 research grants received. And ma'am is also a member in various professional bodies and also obtained many professional certificates. Last but not the least, Dr. Muthumani has got 11 different awards. To name a few, she was awarded with Best Faculty in the year 2016 and 17, and also got award for research from the Innovative Scientific Research Professional, Malaysia. There are many other, it takes a lot of time, that's why I'm skipping, these are the 2. Now, when it comes to her major thrust area is outcome-based curriculum, that's we consider it as one of her specializations. That could be one of the reasons why today she is the guest speaker for the topic outcome-based education. And in addition to that, she is also well versed and specialized in the area of ICT, e-content development, NAC procedures, and IQAC. Thank you for accepting the invitation, madam. Now, outcome-based education is now gaining popularity, and as most of the participants or faculty or from the industry stream, they can understand, traditional education system focusing more on transmitting of the knowledge, and it's more of a teacher-centric. But the changing scenario, the expectations of the industry has changed dramatically, and industry is expecting the certain skill sets that's been mentioned in the form of graduate attributes. Now, the outcome-based education is focusing more on what the student is gained after completion of the program or the course, which will be reflected in the graduate attributes. So thereby, all the educational institutions are now pushing or directed or guiding towards the outcome-based education. And one of the advantages of it, I would say that it is a student-centric learning. With this backdrop, now I would like to invite Dr. N. Muthumani to address the gathering here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful introduction. Good afternoon, sir, and the participants. First, I would like to submit my gratitude to the President of AIMS, Nandagopal, sir, for identifying me and giving me an opportunity to share my knowledge among the learned professors belonging to the management group. And as sir has rightly said, we really, when comparing the traditional education and outcome-based education, we are moving from teacher-centric to the learner-centric. And my presentation will be all about all these things, how we want to move in the curriculum structure, in the teaching learning process, how the assessments to be done, that is the attainments to be calculated, and finally how the continuous quality improvement can be happened by going for the outcome-based curriculum framework. And with all the permissions, let me share my presentation now. Regarding this outcome-based education, at most, first we should know why this OBE has actually come into exist in our education system in India and also in the Western countries. Actually, in the early 1970s, in the Western countries, the publics and the policymakers have invested in the education system, and the policymakers wants to know actually to how much extent the students' learning is happening. So they want to frame a systematic framework to know about the learning of the students. And in 1994, William Spady, the father of outcome-based education, has come out with this word outcome-based education in his book Outcome-Based Education. So surprisingly, the outcome-based education actually it was formulated for the school education initially. Even the Bloom's taxonomy, everything was initially formulated for the Bloom's taxonomy, and gradually it moves to the higher education also. And a small history about how it enters into India means, like we are having NAC and National Board of Accreditation, two accreditation bodies. Likewise, many international accreditation bodies are also available. And one such accreditation body is Washington Accord. And our National Board of Accreditation, which is accrediting the professional colleges, engineering colleges, they want to become a member of the Washington Accord. So the Washington Accord's only condition is that if you want to become a member of Washington Accord, you want to implement outcome-based education in the engineering colleges. This is how actually OBE has entered. So once they have applied in 2008, I hope so, they have applied for the membership in the Washington Accord, this National Board of Accreditation, and they got a temporary signatory status. And after implementing this outcome-based education in few colleges under the guidance of Washington Accord, in 2015, the field team again visited here to India, and they have given the permanent signatory status for the National Board of Accreditation. So why you might be asking, we are already having two accreditation bodies, and what is the need for Washington Accord? Why this National Board of Accreditation wants to go with Washington Accord? The Washington Accord's membership of Washington Accord, it gives the global mobility for the engineering graduates, Indian engineering graduates. Previously, engineering graduates here, when they complete their engineering degree, when they go for opportunities abroad, they want to write a separate exams. But now, because of the membership of the Washington Accord, this global mobility is possible. This is the main advantage of becoming the member of the Washington Accord. And this is how the outcome-based education has entered through National Board of Accreditation into India in higher educations, and gradually NAC has also adopted that. And I hope many colleges now, we are all moving, all types of colleges, we are moving to NAC. So I thought of giving some relevance of outcome-based education to the National Assessment and Accreditation Council. And in the extended profile, the National Accreditation NAC is asking for few points of how the institution is prepared for implementing national education policy in your institutions. And in that, they are asking 6 points. One is how you are implementing multidisciplinary thing in your curriculum or teaching learning in your curriculum, and whether you have registered with the Academic Bank of Credits, whether your institution has registered with the Academic Bank of Credits, and whether your students are aware about the Academic Bank of Credits, and what are all the skill development activities you are taking care in your institutions, and how you are actually integrating the Indian knowledge system by like teaching Indian language, culture, by using online courses also. So we want to write a write-up for 500 words. And they are also asking about the focus on outcome-based education. In that, they are asking what are all the initiatives you take your curriculum or converting your curriculum towards outcome-based education. And second question they are asking is how actually the outcome-based education and the teaching learning process is happening with implementing outcome-based education. And third, they are asking about in implementing NEC, how you are using outcome-based education. So this is why now most of the colleges are talking about outcome-based education. Whatever the stream is, it may be management, it may be engineering, arts and science, medical, pharmacy, all the types of colleges are now implementing outcome-based education. And the last point they're asking about is distance education and online education. So, and they are also asking about in the key indicator 2.3, they are asking about the student-centric methods such as experiential learning, participative learning, and problem-solving methodologies you are using ICT tools. This is also asking, which is related to the OB implementation. And next, they are talking about the program outcomes and course outcomes for all programs offered by the institutions are stated and displayed on the website. So for this, if you are affiliated to university, then ultimately the university will give you the curriculum with the program outcomes and course outcomes. And if you are in autonomous institutions, you will be going for framing your own program outcomes and course outcomes, and how you are making aware these POs and COs to the students and the faculty members, it matters most. And how actually the attainments of program outcomes and course outcomes are evaluated, that is also a given huge weightage in the NAC. And as Sir has said, we are going to see about the difference between traditional education and outcome-based education initially, and then we will move how you can go for the creating your outcomes, program outcomes, course outcomes. What is the difference between all these outcomes? How you want to formulate these outcomes? We will see it later. So actually, being in our higher education department or whatever thing, we could witness two types of outcomes in an educational system. And one is the performance indicator, that is in terms of the marks, how they are doing, assignment marks, seminars, they are giving internal marks, everything. So the performance indicator is the grades that we are giving to the students. And another type of outcome is, it is very less tangible, and it can't be easily measured. That is the original knowledge and the skill and the attitude what the students possess is the second type of outcome. And in the traditional education, we are giving more importance to the performance indicators than the knowledge, skill, and the attitude the students is possessing. So traditional education, it is completely content oriented. Traditional education means it doesn't mean that like Gurukula Kalvi. It's not like that. This is what actually happening nowadays. Also, it's happening in most of the colleges. So we are completely depending on the contents, and different degrees are having different syllabus. And normally we used to go to the class, take the subjects, taught the subject, and the students will be finally examined with their exams. The professors will lecture and the students will take the notes. And nowadays we can say that the students are not taking notes. We are using the learning management system and we are giving everything through the PDF files to the students. And now normally the assignment will be given as a single discipline problems, and the students will be solving them individually in the traditional educations. And teachers, we are at most giving importance in covering the syllabus than whether the learning is happening or not. The less importance is given to know whether the students are learning or not, because we are in the urge of completing our own syllabus within 55 hours or 60 hours. We want to complete our syllabus, and we are having so many works also to do by in between covering the syllabus. And we never thought of whether the students are learning or not, and we are not thinking about what different types of learning methodologies can be utilized in the classroom activities. And the traditional education, as Sad has said, it is completely a teacher-centered approach. So I will say in the coming slides what is teacher-centered and what is student-centered also. So instructional objectives and learning outcomes are not comprehensively planned. Of course, in the previous syllabus and all, if you see, we will be having the aim, objectives, our syllabus content, module-wise syllabus contents, and we will be having our textbooks and reference books. And no learning outcomes is mentioned so far. Nowadays, many institutions, many universities in the past 2-3 years, we have changed our curriculum to the OBE format where the learning outcomes have been included. And student involvement is very low level, of course, in the traditional education because the teacher-centered classrooms, the teachers will be dominating, the teachers will be taking class, and the students' participation will be very low in our regular classroom activities. And the stress is given on lower order thinking skills. Rather, we never thought of building the higher order thinking skills among the students. We are emphasizing on the lower order thinking skills. And students' assessment is not aligned to program outcomes. Of course, since we are not having any outcomes defined so far, our assessment is also not aligned to the program outcomes. So the deficiency is little attention is given whether the students are learned or not, and we are exam oriented and CGPA driven. Our education is, and mainly our graduates are not completely prepared for the workforce, of course, and lack on emphasis of soft skills. Nowadays, most of the colleges, we are giving importance to develop the soft skills by having placement trainings and all. It is happening now. We are improving in that dimension actually. So what is outcome-based education, if you ask? So outcome-based education is nothing but when you clearly focus everything, focus and organize everything. Everything means everything, the word, it means that your curriculum, your teaching learning process, your assessment, and your quality improvement. Everything, if it is focused and organized towards the outcomes, then it is called as the outcome-based education. So there are 3 types of outcome-based education. One is traditional, and another one is transitional, and third one is the transformational OBE. So traditional OBE is nothing but when the existing curriculum, when you are writing your outcomes for the existing curriculum, then it is called as traditional outcome-based educations. So when we thought of many of the autonomous colleges, if we are thinking about implementing outcome-based curriculum inside in our institution, what we used to do means we will take our existing syllabus, previous year syllabus, and we used to write the outcomes for the existing syllabus. So this kind of outcome-based education is called as traditional OBE, and traditional OBE is actually calendar tied. Calendar tied means we will be having stipulated time period for completing the course and the number of working days per semester. Everything is actually calendar tied. And in traditional outcome-based educations, more importance is given for subject mastering. That is, lower order thinking skills is more emphasized in the traditional OBE. And transitional OBE, it is the next level of outcome-based education, and it is the same as traditional OBE, but here the more importance is given to the higher order thinking skills. And the third one is the transformational OBE. Transformational OBE is nothing but how you are going to transform your student from a student to a well-rounded citizen or well-rounded human being. That it talks about transformational OBE. That means if you are able to transform your student into a good citizen, a good son, good husband, or in all aspects, good employer, in 360 degree, if you are able to transform your student, then it is about the transformational outcome-based education. So outcome-based education, actually, it is underpinned with 3 basic premises. And one is all the students can learn and succeed, but not all in the same time or in the same way. So now here we should pass and we should self-reflect whether if you are going to take a class in a 60 strength of classrooms, whether all the students will learn and succeed, it means it is a big question mark. But this is what OBE is insisting, that we should give more time and we should train them with different methodologies so that all the students should be able to attain their outcomes. And second point is successful learning promotes even more successful learning. Of course, this is a psychological related point where if the student tastes the success, then automatically they will be forwarding towards more success. And third one is, it is more important, the school and teachers control the conditions that determine whether or not the students are successful at school learning. Of course, it's completely in the hands of the teachers, and the students' learning is in our hands, and the implementation of outcome-based education is also in the teachers' hands. So there are 4 principles of outcome-based education. One is clarity of focus. As we already seen, the complete focus of a teacher should be towards the outcomes. So what outcome you are expecting from your student after completing your course or after completing your program, what you are expecting your student, the focus should be on the outcomes. It means that once you are focusing on the outcomes, then you will plan your lessons so that the outcomes are achieved. You will plan your teaching learning methodology so that the outcomes are achieved. You will plan your assignments, you will plan your seminars, you will plan all your classroom activities, active learning strategies, everything will be focused towards the attainment of the outcomes. And the second one is the designing back. Designing back is actually, it's not happening. Designing back means first you will formulate your program outcomes. Suppose if any one standalone business institution, if they want all these characteristics we want, all these are the outcomes of our programs. Once you have written your program outcomes, then to achieve this program outcomes, you will go for the framing the curriculum and what are the courses you need to achieve this outcome. You will be creating your courses and then you will be writing your course outcomes. So designing back means actually what is happening nowadays in most of the colleges is we are writing from the course outcomes and moving back. Actually, we should start from the PEOs and POs, then only the curriculum should be formulated, created, and then course outcomes should be formulated. So we will see what are all these PEOs, POs, and COs later. And the next one is the expanded opportunity. So this point is actually linked with the first premises of outcome-based education. That is, all students should learn and succeed, not in the same time, not in the same way. It means that we should give more and more opportunities to the students so that they can attain their outcomes. So in most of the colleges now, we are following in arts and science college, to my knowledge, even in our engineering college also, we are following the remedial class system, where these remedial classes will help the students to learn more, to understand the concepts more, for a deeper understanding of the concepts by the teachers. So different methodologies will be used to teach them why they are not able to understand the concepts. So the expanded opportunities is talking about the remedial classes. So these are the core principles of OBE. One is clarity of focus. Next one is designing back. Third one is high expectations. And fourth one is the expanded opportunities. So this is significant outcomes of OBE. This is about the transformational OBE. As I already said, William Spady, the father of outcome-based education in 1994, has given some suggestions about the outcomes of the life performance roles. This is about the transformational OBE. We have not actually entered into the transformational OBE nowhere. We are just starting in the traditional OBE and moving towards the transitional OBE. Nowadays, the transformation is happening from traditional to transitional only. So in the transformational OBE means in the life performance roles, these are the categories of outcomes that is listed by the William Spady. One is a student should be a learner and thinker, listener and communicator, implementer and performer, problems finder and solver, planner and designer, creator and producer. You could see these are the roles, life roles actually. Teacher and mentor, supporter and contributor, team member and partner, leader and organizer. So these 10 suggestions actually help the policy makers to formulate their graduate attributes actually. So we will skip all these things. We have already seen what is outcome-based education, traditional educations. So this is the main slide actually. It talks about the difference between OBE and the traditional approach. In the traditional approach, it is completely teacher-centered. But here in the outcome-based approach, it is completely learner or student-centered approach. In the traditional approach, the teacher's role is an instructor where he used to go to the class and we will instruct the students. But here in the outcome-based approach, our role will be changing from an instructor to a facilitator. And here, the importance is given to the teacher's input. But in the outcome-based approach, we will be concentrating more on the learner's output. In the traditional teaching approach, the class will be very rigid and controlling. But here, it will be very flexible as well as empowering. Here, emphasis is on products like marks, grades. But here, the emphasis is given for the overall learning in outcome-based approach. In traditional approach, the syllabi is very rigid and non-negotiable. When in some cases, in autonomous colleges, we are having the autonomy to change our syllabus. But in outcome-based approach, learning outcomes can be actually revised then and there. And traditional teaching approach, it is norm reference assessment. Here, it is only criterion reference assessment. And traditional approach, it is mainly on content-based and content delivery. But outcome-based approach is only talking about the ability building and the skill development. So the first important point is the teacher-centered and learner-centered approach. And we will see the difference between the teacher-centered and the learner-centered approach. Okay. So teacher-centered, in terms of teacher-centered, means here the knowledge is transmitted from the instructor. It's not instruction, actually instructor. And student-centered means the students will construct their own knowledge. Teacher-centered is actually behaviorism and cognitivism learning, and student-centered is constructivity learning. And student participation in teacher-centered is very passive. The students will not participate in any classroom because since we are lecturing, the students will sit silently and they will listen to the lecture. But in student-centered, they will be a facilitator where the students will be very active in constructing their own knowledge. And the role of lecture in teacher-centered is, it is a leader or authority, but in student-centered, we will be a facilitator. And the assessment in teacher-centered, we will be having only few tests. So far, we used to have only few tests like first internal, second internal, assignments, seminars, and finally semester examinations. But in case of student-centered, many tests, ongoing feedbacks, then and there surveys will be taken, then and there pollings will be happening. Regular classroom assessment test CATs will be happening in the classrooms. Formative assessment tests will be more in the student-centered approach. And emphasis is in teacher-centered, it is only learning correct answers. But in student-centered, it is the more importance is given to the deep understanding of the concepts. The assessment method is one-dimensional. Here it is multi-dimensional because we are using different dimensional 360-degree testing will be happening for the students. And academic culture, it is very competitive and individualistic, but in terms of student-centered, it is collaborative and supportive. You could ask how it is collaborative and supportive. Since the students are constructing by their own knowledge, by actively engaging in the classroom activities, automatically the students will be supportive to each other and some teamwork will be happening there. So student-centered environment is very collaborative and supportive. So benefits, when you talk, it is more direct and coherent curriculum because the outcomes are clearly mentioned in the curriculum, and graduates will be more relevant to industry and other stakeholders because we are framing, we will be writing our own outcomes, we will be formulating our own outcomes only based on the industry need. So once the outcomes are written based on the industry needs, the curriculum will also be created so that it is the students are able to achieve the outcomes, and ultimately the students will become ready as an industry ready graduate. And in the outcome based education, continuous quality improvement is in place. Continuous quality improvement is in place means once the outcome is attained, if you find the evidence of what you have formulated an outcome and the students are able to achieve means, then again the committee will be sitting together and they will be going for the next level of outcomes. So continuous quality improvement will be there in the outcome-based education. So 4 main activities, as we already seen, one is curriculum design. So once the curriculum is designed, and the teachers will be going for the teaching learning process, and appropriate teaching methodologies and teaching activities will be chosen by the course coordinator, and then the assessment and the evaluations will be done. And finally, the teachers will be checking for the attainment of the outcomes. And once the outcomes are attained or not attained, the continuous quality improvement will be happening. So these are the key constituents of outcome-based education. One is vision and mission. The vision and mission, it starts from the vision and mission of the institution. Normally, every institution will have their own vision and missions. And if the institution is having many departments, then each and every department will have their own vision and missions. So the vision and mission, it is actually 2 categories. One is vision and mission of the department, and another one is the vision and mission of the institution. And next comes the program educational objectives. See, you could see the remaining constituents are called as outcomes, but here this is called as program educational objective. What is your educational objective for your particular program, or after completing your MBA, what your students will be able to achieve after 3 to 5 years or in their life, how they will be getting settled, what is the professional enrichment they will be having, what is the career enhancement they will be having, everything will be written in terms of the program educational objectives. And then comes the program outcomes. Program outcomes is nothing but what you are expecting your students to do at the end of the graduation or immediate graduation. What you are expecting your students to do is called as the program outcomes. So parallelly to the program outcomes comes the graduate attributes. Graduate attributes is nothing but the characteristics of the graduates. It should be formulated by the institutions. And next comes the course outcomes. Course outcomes is the actually building blocks for all the above outcomes. The attainment process, it starts from the course outcomes. Once the course outcome attainment is done, then it will be linked to PO attainment, then PEO, and finally we will be going for the vision and mission. So the mapping will be such like this. The PEO course outcomes will be mapped to the program outcome. Program outcome will be mapped to PEOs, and PEOs will be mapped to the mission of the department. So vision, mission, we all know. So vision statement, it explains what, and mission statement, it explains why we are all existing here actually. And the definition of the vision statement will be written as a snapshot, but mission statement will be written in 3 or 4 statements. The length of the vision statement will be very long and the mission statement will be very short. The purpose of the vision statement, it should inspire the people. The vision is every management, they will be having a vision about their institution. So this vision should inspire the peoples. And the mission statement, it informs the members what these people are doing here in a regular day-to-day activities to achieve their visions. And activity of the vision is seeing, visualizing, but mission is actually doing regularly. And effect, it is challenging, and it clarifies that it is possible to achieve the challenges. So the levels of outcomes we have already seen: PEOs, POs, PSOs, and post outcomes. And PEOs, when you see what are the PEOs means, as I already said, when I will easily explain this to my colleagues like this. When a parent is coming to our college, if I am telling them that after completing the degree in PPG College of Arts and Science, your son or daughter will be placed here, your son or will be having such and such qualities. After this, their life will be settled like this. Once they have taken the graduation from this college, we will be giving all these promises to the students. So when you write all these things in your words, then it is called as the program educational objectives. And the program education objectives, actually, it is measured after 4 to 5 years of graduation. That is, after becoming an alumni, strong alumni of our college, we will be measuring the program education objectives. So we will see one by one what is PEOs. And in outcome-based educations, the outcomes are actually seen in 3 categories. One is the knowledge, and another one is skill, and third one is the attitude. So this is the PEOs. This is what we have seen so far. So PEOs should be mapped with the vision and mission of the department and the vision and mission of the institutions. And PEOs should be measurable, appropriate, realistic, time-bound, and achievable. Now let us take, for example, if I am having a BCom graduate, if I'm saying that all the BCom, I'm writing a PEO like that, our BCom graduates program education objectives, I'm writing PEO1 as after completing graduates or our graduates will be the CEOs of a company after 4 or 5 years. If I am writing like this PEO is actually not realistic because all my students will not be able to become a CEO of a company in 4 to 5 years. It is not realistic and it is not achievable and it is not time-bound. So while you are writing your PEOs, you should write check it whether it is measurable, appropriate, realistic, time-bound, and achievable. So program outcomes, it is nothing but the narrower the statements that describe what students will be able to do in terms of knowledge and skill at the time of the graduations. It should not be too broad, and they must be aligned with the graduate attributes, and they must reflect all the graduate attributes. So actually this graduate attributes for the engineering colleges, it is formulated by the National Board of Accreditation, and it was distributed and it was given to all the engineering colleges. So these are the 12 characteristics of the graduates, engineering graduates they have identified, and the NBA has formulated this. And for the arts and science colleges, there is no such graduate attributes given so far. And I have also searched in many things in National Board of Accreditation website and AICT website also to find the graduate attributes of the management. To my knowledge, I couldn't find anything. If any of you know, please kindly let me also know that. So program outcomes, we have seen all these things. And program outcomes defined by AICTE for MBA. I have taken this from the model curriculum for MBA that is released in 2018. And the first program outcome is describing about the business environment and domain knowledge. That means the students should have enough knowledge about the local and global business environments, where they will be able to identify the functioning of the business, potential business opportunities, everything they must be able to do. This is one PO they have given. So the next PO is talking about the critical thinking, business analytics, problem solving, and innovative solutions. When you see this POs, you could relate this to the graduate attitudes of the engineering college also, where these same words are appearing in the graduate attitudes of the engineering students also. And of course, whomever may be, to which stream the students are belonging, the students should have enough competencies in the critical thinkings, and they must be able to do the relevant analysis, and they must be having the problem solving skills also in their own domain. If it is in the business domain, they should have their own business domain problem solving knowledge, and they must be able to go for the business strategies and human resources also. So innovative solutions is expected in all streams, in all domains. And next comes the global exposure and cross-culture understanding. Since they are coming from the management background, it is necessary for the students to have a global exposure, and they must be able to understand the cross-culture. Here, we will be talking about the multidisciplinary approach in engineering colleges. So here, cross-culture understanding is also necessary for the MBA candidate. And social responsiveness and ethics, of course, everywhere it is there. For the engineers, it is given as the engineer and the society, sustainability and society, everything they have given already. Likewise, for the MBA candidates also, the students should have the responsiveness about the social issues or problems, and they must be able to explore the solutions, and what are the business ethics it is there, everything the students should be able to do. These are the things, these are the characteristics the students should exhibit at the end of completing their graduations. And of course, an important thing is the effective communications. So the MBA graduates must be able to communicate well during their presentations, even when they are communicating through online social platforms, whatever it may be, they should be having effective communication skills. And of course, leadership and teamwork is a necessary skill, and understanding the leadership roles and the various levels of organizations is necessary. And the students should be able to work in a team. They should be able to collaborate with the other members. They should be able to share their domain knowledge with their team members to maximize the usage of the solutions, to bring the solutions, everything, to demonstrate the leadership quality also it is needed. So the leadership and teamwork is another program outcome that is given by the AICTE for MBA candidates. So these are the in the model curriculum, they have suggested these program outcomes, and if it is needed, you can go for your own program outcomes, and many of the universities, they have come up with their own program outcomes for the MBA programs. We can follow that. So program outcome is nothing but what you are expecting your students as a graduate to exhibit in terms of knowledge, skill, and attitude at the time of graduation. It is called as program outcome. And when coming to the course outcome, once the program outcome is there, once we are saying that a student should have effective communication skill, a student should have social responsiveness and ethics, a student should have global exposure and cross-cultural understanding. Once the program outcomes are formulated, the courses that is designed in the curriculum should address all these program outcomes. Of course, the curriculum should be mapped with the program outcomes. So the courses should be selected appropriately so that it will be mapping to the program outcomes. If it is for the communication skill, you will be having some business communication papers. Like that, you will be having the courses in your syllabus. So once the courses are defined, once the courses are actually decided, and for each and every courses, we will be having an associated syllabi, and at the end of the syllabi, we will be writing the course outcomes. Course outcome is nothing but what the students are expected to do, what the students will be able to do in terms of knowledge, skill, and attitude at the end of completing this course. at the end of this semester, what you are expecting your students to do, it is called as the course outcomes. And there will be a confusion, always a confusion will be prevailing that well in the mapping of the course outcomes and the program outcomes. And it is not necessary that one course outcome, it's not necessary to address all the program outcomes. One course outcome can be mapped to few program outcomes, and one program outcome can be mapped to few course outcomes. But there should not be a gap in the program articulation matrix. Finally, we will be going for an program articulation matrix where all the course outcomes and the program outcomes will be mapped, and there should not be an empty cell. At least one course outcome should be mapped to at least one program outcomes. So what is the use of this course outcome? If you ask me, it helps the teachers to prepare the classroom material. Of course, since we know these are the outcomes we are expecting from the students, based on the outcome expectations, we can prepare our own materials and we can focus on a specific end result. It means that we can collect our own teaching learning methodologies, activities, case studies, whatever the pedagogy you want to choose, you can choose that. And you can also create the homework and assignments that is aligned with the course outcomes, and the assessment also should be aligned. So this curriculum, teaching learning process, assessment, when all these things are aligned to the outcomes, then it is called as the constructive alignment. So in the outcome-based education implementation, one thing in many colleges they are missing is the constructive alignment. An alignment should be there between the outcome, curriculum, teaching learning process, and the assessment. So course outcomes, how it helps the learners? Of course, the learners will be know why they are studying this course. What is the purpose of this course? And since the outcomes are already given to the students, they will be self-reflecting themselves. They will be assessing themselves whether they are moving in the right way. And there will not be any stress or anxiety among the students of at what level the questions will be asked in the higher order thinking skills or in the lower order thinking skills. There will be no anxiety among the students because the outcomes are clearly stated and the Bloom's level is also given to the students, and it will improve their studying effectiveness. So elements of course outcomes, those who are formulating the course outcomes in the autonomous colleges, you will be in need of this slide actually. So there are three elements of the course outcome. One is action verb, and another one is the subject, and third one is the context. Action verb is nothing but it will demonstrate some sort of learning. So these action verbs are actually taken from the Bloom's taxonomy cognitive domain, and it's not necessary for us to stick on only to the cognitive domain. Even we can go for the psychomotor domain verbs and the attitude domain also. And the next one is the subject. So this action verb is talking about some subject. So we will be having a subject material. In what criteria actually this action verb is going to work? The context is also be there. So in these three elements, the action verb and the subject are compulsory, and the context is not mandatory. If it is needed, we can give, or otherwise we can leave it. I will show you a few examples. So one is model a spring mass system as a differential equation. In this outcome, the model is the verb that belongs to the understand level, and subject is the spring mass system, that is the subject where the verb is working, and the context is as a differential equation. And determine the purchase consideration of a firm using the debt payment method. It is another sample where the determine is the verb, and the determine is talking about the subject purchase consideration under the criteria net payment method. So this is another sample. So what is the do's and don'ts by writing your course outcome means? You should use only one action verb. I have seen in many colleges, many autonomous colleges, they will be using, the students will be able to analyze, interpret, and differentiate like this they will be writing. While we are using more than one verb, then it will be difficult for us when we are going for the attainment process. And the next one is, we should not use the linking words like such as different while we are writing our course outcomes. And the course outcome statements should be very specific and measurable. It should not be too abstract as well as it should not be too specific. So these are the do's and don'ts while you are writing your course outcomes. So checklist, this is what I have already said. You want to check whether it is starting with an action verb and whether it is only talking about the student performance rather than teacher's process. See, when it is talking about the student performance means we are moving to student-centered approach. When you are talking about the teacher process means again we are sticking into the teacher-centered approach. And whether it is a product, not a process. Product means the students will be able to demonstrate it. Process means the students will be able to learn it, the students will be able to understand it. These are the process. But actually, the course outcome should talk about the product and whether it is actually proper level of generality and relatively independent of the other CEOs. We want to check how it is clear, how it is conscious, everything we want to check. And final important thing is whether the CO is attainable or not. It is the most important part we want to check while we are writing our course outcome. So the relationship is, as I already said, mission. Actually, we want to come from this side. The course outcomes or the competencies should be mapped to the program outcomes, where the program outcomes are actually reflecting the graduate attributes, GAs, and program outcomes are mapped to PEOs, and PEOs are again mapped to the mission of the department, and in turn, mission of the department will be mapped to the mission of the institutions. So this is a relationship between the different outcomes in outcome-based education. So OBE framework, we have seen already. We can see once again in the blue box, we will be having mission and mission. We will be writing PEOs and then student outcomes and course learning outcomes. This is completely the curriculum framework, this blue box. Then the teacher will be going for the teaching learning, where the syllabus is with the teacher. The teacher will go for the lesson plans, and he or she will choose the teaching methods and learning activities and assessment tools, everything. And assessment will be happen. Once the course assessment is happened, the course outcome attainment is done. All the course outcome attainments is done for the 4 semesters. Then for an MBA program, we will be going for the program assessment, and finally it will lead to the institutional assessment. So once this process is over, again some improvements will be done, and the continuous quality improvement will be there in place. So these are the steps. This is what I have explained now, and I am closing now here. This is actually the teacher-centric. We are moving from teacher-centric to the learner-centric, and we are completely moving from content-based to the outcome-based educations. And we have already speaking about the objectives. Now we are going to speak about the competencies or the outcomes of the students, or the skills what the students will be possessing. Knowledge is transformed to skills, and there will be no passive learning in the classroom. Only integrated learning or the active learning will be happening inside the classroom. And the subjective assessment will be over, and objective assessment will be happening then and there in the classroom itself, and assessed by counting. Here there is no marks and grades, even though there is marks and grades, but the performance will also be taken into account while assessing the students. And normally our one course will be assigned time. Within the assigned time of 55 hours we will be completing. This will be going to change that, where the time and sequence will be derived by the assessment. Only if all the students are able to attain their outcome, then we will be moving to the next courses. So ultimately, we are moving from completely to the teacher-centric environment to the learner-centric environment in the outcome-based educations. So I am stopping here, and I am waiting for your questions, and we can go for the questions.
Thank you, ma'am. I think you are on dot. And thank you for taking us through the entire outcome-based education, the concept, philosophy, and then the difference between traditional education model and outcome education model, and also touching upon SPADI 4 principles, and also the entire CO, PO, PEOs, and the broadly what should be done with respect to the attainment. Dear delegates, the floor is open for Q&A, and I have seen few questions in the chat box, and I request all the delegates to post your questions in the chat box so that we will try to take up some of the questions with the given time slot. And also in the meantime, the feedback link will be shared, and then we advise all of you kindly give your feedback. Ma'am, I think there's I have seen some of the questions there with respect to the attainment. When we are going for the CO and PO, PSO mapping, and then on a scale of 1 to 3, we need to see for each course and a course outcome with respect to the POs and PSOs. Is there any scientific measure to say that the strength of the relationship between the COs and the PO or PSO is 1 to 3? How do we measure, and on what basis we will come to that, the relationship or the degree of relationship between 1 and 3?
Sir, thank you, sir, for the question. Actually, in the literature, so far, there is no any scientific methodology formulated to map or give the levels as 3 to 1. And it's up to the course coordinator who can decide this course will be mapped to these outcomes. If it is a core paper and automatically your domain knowledge program outcome will be mapping strongly to that particular core papers. When you are going for a communication paper, then communicator relating program outcome will be mapped strongly. But if you ask me, even in our core papers, we will be giving some assignments and seminars where the students will be involving in some sort of communications. The communication outcome can be mapped to the lower level for the core paper also. So it is up to the course coordinator and a team of members, those who are specialists in this subject, they can sit together and they can come to a conclusion of giving 3 to 1. And when I was going through the National Board of Accreditation's website, I could see some performance indicators where the program outcome is again divided into some performance indicators, and this performance indicator are used to give the strongly mapping or low level mapping or middle level mapping.
Right.
And in the literature, few of them are giving based on the number of hours you are using for that particular module. They are giving mapping the program outcomes. So
there are two ways. Either you can go by the core subject as a one criteria. Other one is the number of hours that we are devoting. So based on that, we can say low to moderate and high.
Sir, simply saying, if you ask me whether Sachin Tendulkar is a batter, bowler, all-rounder, if you give a program outcome like this, we will be easily able to map 3, 2 or 1. Likewise, the course coordinator will be easily able to map it, sir. They want to say that actually some deliberation should be happening there and it can be easily done.
So that means the course facilitator should have a strong idea on the course and its relevance to the POs.
Yes, sir.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. And you're also referring about the Bloom's taxonomy. Now in a country like this, I mean, in India, we have, different layers in the institutional structure wise. We have a structure called affiliated colleges, universities, and autonomous colleges. And then, and the competency levels obviously varies from level to the level. But when it comes to the National Board of Accreditation or NAC and all these accreditations, they put all the institutions under the same category and all, and they expect all these institutions to make that attainments. So how this problem can be addressed?
Sir, actually, the key indicators may be same for all the colleges, but the NAC or National Board of Accreditation is not asking why you are having only this program outcome and why you are having only this level, Bloom's level you are using. Wherever I used to go in all the colleges, in the rural colleges, I actually advise the people and the administrations to develop outcomes based on students' background. It is at most necessary. We can't have the same outcome for all type of students. We should analyze the environment from where they are coming, whether they are coming from the regional language medium or whether they are coming from English medium. For a regional language medium students, if you are having a communicating needs program at a high level, how come they will be achieving? So on considering all these things only, we should formulate our outcomes, even program outcomes and course outcomes. That's what I have already said. You should check whether it is attainable, whether it is measurable, whether it is town-bound, whether it is specific. In all aspects, we should check on this.
Thank you, ma'am. I think considering the paucity of the time, we will take up only the last question. That's been popping up is graduate attributes, and that there is a clarity required. So can you throw some light on that?
Yes, sir. Graduate attributes, it's nothing but actually nowadays the National Board of Accreditation is not talking about the graduate attribute. In between, they were talking about the graduate attributes. Graduate attribute is nothing but the characteristics a graduate will possess at the time of graduation. Whatever the degree they are studying, or engineering, he or she may be in civil engineering, computer science, mechanical, whatever stream may be, an engineering graduate should possess all these characteristics. They are defining in the prior itself. So these attributes are called as graduate attributes. So this graduate attributes will be reflected in the program outcomes. It means that we are saying that the program outcome is nothing but the students will be able to demonstrate this and this at the end of the graduation. So at the end of the graduation, the students should have this characteristics also. So these both are actually related to each other, graduate attributes and the program outcomes.
I think it seems majority of the questions that were posted has been answered. I would like to thank Dr. N. Madhumati for sharing her perspectives on outcome-based education and sharing a lot of insights on that. I would like to thank immensely AIMS President Professor Nandagopal for providing this kind of a platform where all the learned members can come and share their ideas and then gain the knowledge and the inputs or the perspectives through this platform. And I also thank the Regional Vice President, Professor Narayan Reddy, and also AIM Secretariat staff and all the delegates for making it as a grand success. Thank you one and all. Have a nice evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, participants. Thank you.